Good day, learners! Today, our topic is argumentative text, focusing on modal verbs and modal adverbs. What is argumentative text? It is a text that attempts to present and explain the issue or case, gives reasons and supports these reasons to prove its point, and refutes or proves wrong the opposing argument. Or when we say argumentative text, this is a type of writing where you take a stand on an issue and you try to convince others to agree with your point of view. It's not just about saying what you think, but you need to back up your ideas with reasons, evidence, and even tackle the opposing ideas. And for you to better understand it, let's break it down so it will be more clear to you. Let's start with the key structural elements of an argumentative text or essay. First one is the introduction. Introduction, it introduces the problem, states the claim, and gives background information needed for the argument. It also has an attention-getting or what we call the hook. So this is where you introduce the issue or topic that you are talking about. So you have to grab the reader's attention with a hook, like a question, fact, or it can also be a strong statement. And in introduction, we also have the thesis statement. This is a short statement that summarizes the main claim or point or your main idea of an essay, supported by reasons and evidence. So it can be written at the end of the introduction. You should write your thesis statement. Again, this is your main point or opinion on the issue. And it is commonly or usually located at the end of your introduction. And we have this example for introduction. So the title is Pant Perfection. This is the title of the whole argumentative text that I am going to show you now. But this part is just the introduction of it. So let's read. Since Adam and Eve first partook of that forbidden fruit, humans have spent immense resources to develop the perfect accoutrement for all seasons and occasions. While trends continue to evolve with various cultural and economic shifts, pants, also known as slacks, remain the most steadfast form of clothing, holding greater utility and value than all other forms of bottoms. So as you can see here in our example, and just like what I have mentioned earlier, in the introductory part, you should get the attention of the readers, wherein you should use a hook. And in this example, the hook is based from the Bible, wherein it is stated here that since then or ever since the world began, with just Adam and Eve partook the forbidden fruit, the humans started to have all or to develop the perfect things, for example, to wear during seasons and other occasions. And in this example, the thesis statement or your main point or the opinion on the issue is the last part of the sentence, wherein it is the pants, also known as slacks, remain the most steadfast form of clothing, holding greater utility and value than all other forms of bottoms. So this is the opinion of the author in here, wherein for him or for her, pants will always be the most steadfast or the most in-demand form of clothing, regardless of the occasions or the seasons that you may be wearing your pants. So this is the example for introduction. And let's have the next key features of argumentative text. And this is the body. So it provides any information your reader needs to know to understand your claim. So it contains the supporting facts or details. It can have the examples, the statistics, personal experiences, or researches. So in this part, it is important that you should explain the issue. So before diving into your reasons, you need to explain the background of the issue. This helps your reader understand what you are talking about and why it is important. And next, we have the claim. So in claim, this is an argument based on facts and reasoning, because it is important that in your argumentative text, all your reason should be based on facts or reliable sources. So in here, this is where you may explain why your opinion is right. Next, we have the evidence. So, for every reason you give, you must include evidence to support it. So, evidence can be in the form of personal experiences of the direct people who experience the issue or are professional in a certain part of that issue. Definitions, facts, research, data, quotes from an authority in the field, or statistical graphs which tend to support or prove something. So your reasons and evidence make your argument stronger. That is why it is very important that you have a concrete evidence based on these resources or evidence. And for example, for body, which has the claim and evidence, this is it. Let's read it. Pants are more sustainable than other bottom in terms of both manufacturing and daily usage. Ostensibly, the best clothes are the clothes a person chooses to wear frequently, without thought or second guess. In the annual Pants Symposium of 2022, Dr. Jeremy Trousers of Slack University notably said, "Pants have a psychology behind them. Pants can be worn at any time of the year and are thus more likely to be worn than to stay stuck in a pile in the closet or at the bottom of a landfill." So in this example, the claim is the first statement or the first part of this paragraph. So the claim is pants are more sustainable than other bottom in terms of both manufacturing and daily usage. And the evidence, it is very evident in the paragraph. So we have the person or the statement of a person concerning the argument. So we have in the annual Pants Symposium of 2022, Dr. Jeremy Trousers of Slack University notably said, "Pants have a psychology behind them," and so on and so forth. So this evidence contains facts and real-life examples or what the experts say about the topic. Okay, so this is how you will write your body, which has the claim and evidence. Next, we have the refutation or rebuttal. An opposing argument that seeks to prove your opinion or claim is false because people might not agree with you, so you need to talk about your arguments too. And you have to explain why their points are weak, wrong, or not as strong as your own arguments. So this shows that you have thought about other opinions and makes your argument more convincing. And we have the example for refutation or rebuttal. Take note that this is still part of your body. But in here, this is the last part of your body. So you may have the separate paragraph for it. So let's read it. Many people state that pants are naturally built for discomfort. However, this argument is specious at best. A survey of the student campus found that pants were not more or less comfortable than any other item of clothing. This suggests that pants are not as uncomfortable as often stated by the larger population, while also bringing to light the naturally subjective concept of discomfort. As you can see at the first part of this example, we have the rebuttal. Okay, so many people state that pants are naturally built for discomfort. This is what I have mentioned earlier, that you should also talk about the arguments of other people. And this is the argument of other people, the one that is in here in the first part of this paragraph. And this paragraph shows that you really understood or thought about the other opinions, but in a sense that you may. And the final part or key features of argumentative text is the conclusion, the final section of your paper that clearly summarizes the points made and is supported by evidence. So conclusion wraps everything up. You have to restate your thesis and quickly summarize your main points or your claim. And you should end with a strong final statement or a call to action. When we say call to action, this can be in the form of recommendation that will actually leave an impact on your reader. So for an example of conclusion, we have this. Let's read. Pants are the best bottom covering and one of the best forms of clothing among all basic metrics. Questions about labor practices and materials used in manufacturing are worth addressing, but these apply to larger clothing industry standards. Further consideration of the clothing industry's impact on ecology and human labor is worthy and may prove to only support pants supremacy. So as you can see in our concluding part or conclusion, the thesis statement was restated, and this is in the first part of this paragraph. Pants are the best bottom covering and one of the best forms of clothing among all basic metrics. Okay, and it ended with a strong final statement, and this is it. Further consideration of the clothing industry's impact on ecology and human labor is worthy and may prove to only support pants supremacy. So that is how you write your argumentative text. But what do you think is the purpose of an argumentative text? Definitely the purpose of argumentative text is to convince others to see things your way, but also to make them think critically about the issue. It is like a debate on paper. That is why when we going to have, or when you have your debate, we will use the argumentative text for you to write your speech. So it is like a debate on paper because you want to win the reader over with strong ideas and solid evidence, since all of our reasons are based on the evidence. So writing an argumentative text is about using logic, evidence, and a clear structure to make your point stand out. So let's continue with the language features of argumentative text. Language features of an argumentative text or essays. First, we have the modal verbs. These are special verbs which behave irregularly in English. They are different from normal verbs like work, play, visit. They give additional information about the function of the main verb that follows it. And they have a great variety of communicative function. So for you to better understand what modal verbs are, let's have the examples for each expressions. So we have the modal verbs, the expressions, and the examples for each. For modal verbs, we have the modal verbs can or can't for present tense. We have the could or couldn't for past tense. And this is for the expression of ability. So to say someone has or hasn't a particular ability. Example, Lito can speak 5 dialects fluently, but he can't speak English fluently. Next, we have could, might, may. So it states present and future tenses. So we use this in expressing possibility. To express possibility about the present or the future. Example, It might be raining outside. You should take an umbrella with you. Another, I may come and visit you after work. It could rain later, so I will bring an umbrella with me. And also we have must have for the present or past tense. And it expresses certainty, to express certainty. Example, she speaks 5 dialects, so she must be clever. We also have should, ought to, or must. It expresses advice or to give advice. Example, you should buy some new shoes. You ought to go to sleep early. You look tired. You must be careful and alert when driving alone. And lastly, we have must or have to. It expresses obligation, expresses strong obligation. Example, you must finish your task by this afternoon. And she has to feed her pet every day. So, these are the modal verbs with its expressions and the examples. Let's have an exercise. So in here, you have to fill in the blanks, the correct modal verbs to be used in this argumentative text. So we have the choices above. We have can, might, will, could, must, would, may, should, and ought to. Let's read the text. Throw out the bottles and boxes of drugs in your house. A new theory suggests that medicine blank be bad for your health, which blank at least come as good news to people who cannot afford to buy expensive medicine. This new theory argues that healing is at our fingertips. We blank be healthy by doing exercise on a regular basis. The answers are could, should, and can. Next, let's have the argumentative text number 2. So we have can, might, will, could, must, would, may, should, and ought to. Let's read the text. What blank you think if you had to put your personal belongings in a crate, and every time you turn around something of yours was stolen? That is why I think students blank have lockers to protect their things. Keep their things somewhere clean, and so they won't have to complain about carrying everything at once. So let's answer this exercise. The answers are would and should. And let's also have the argumentative text 3. The problem lies in the difference of children raised by single parents versus children raised by both a mother and a father. Does a child need both parents? Does a young boy need a father figure around? Does the government provide help for single parents? What role do step-parents and step-siblings play? With much speculation, this topic has become a very intriguing argument. What people blank understand is that properly raising a child does not rely on the structure of a family, but blank be more focused on the process or values that are taught to these children as they learn to mature. Children of single parents blank be just as progressive with emotional, social, and behavioral skills as those with two parents. So let's answer this exercise. The answers are must, should, and can. And we're done with the modal verbs. Now let's have the next language feature of argumentative text, which is the modal adverbs. When we say modal adverbs, are used to modify specific verbs that consist of a linking verb or the verb of being, and sometimes another verb. Example for modal adverbs are probably, possibly, evidently, certainly, surely, undoubtedly, seriously, clearly, and obviously. If you can still remember our first quarter lesson, which is about the adverbs, you can easily identify or determine the modal adverbs used in a statement. Example sentences are, I will surely watch the Avengers movie. It will probably rain this afternoon. Ruben must seriously exert more effort in his studies to pass this final quarter. So in adverbs or the modal adverbs, it is important to know what modality is. So modality is used in writing to express how definite you are about something. Are you strongly definite about it? So let's have the examples for the degrees of modality. For the degrees of modality, we have first the strong. It uses the adverbs always and never. It may also use evidently, surely, seriously, and undoubtedly. So example, people should always wash their hands before eating. And you will never graduate if you will not study hard. So these are the example for expression of a strong degree of modality. And for the moderate degree of modality, we uses often, rarely, usually, sometimes, frequently, and occasionally. Example, Mary rarely goes out to party, and Arnold often takes a bath. We also have the adverbs of possibility for the modal adverbs because some adverbs can be used to describe how likely it is that something will happen. So we have certainly, obviously, definitely, perhaps, maybe, probably, possibly, and clearly. And let's have an exercise for the modal adverbs. So you have to fill in the blanks with the correct modal adverbs to be used in this statement. And you may choose your answer above. So let's answer this one. If we will win next week's games, we will be on the finalist. What do you think is the answer? The answer is surely. Next we have blank, our teacher will arrive before the Google Classroom starts. The answer is definitely. Joey blank made a big difference to the success of the class. The answer is clearly. And we also have examples for the degree of modality in strong. I always do my homework. I never do my homework. For the moderate degree of modality, we also have these examples. I wash dishes. I usually wash dishes. I often wash dishes. Argumentative essay using modals. So argumentative essay is a type of essay that presents arguments about both sides of an issue. It could be that both sides are presented equally balanced, or it could be that one side is presented more forcefully than the other. It is usually written in the 5-paragraph structure. So the argumentative essay format consists of an introduction, so 1 paragraph only for introduction, then 2 to 3 body paragraphs that contains the claims, the evidence, or your reasons, or the background knowledge regarding with your opinion or argument. And of course, the last paragraph would be for conclusion. So an argumentative essay is, again, just like what I have mentioned earlier, is where you discuss the both sides of an issue, but your goal is to convince the reader to agree with your point of view. And you might present both sides equally, or you might focus more on proving that one side is stronger than the other. Either way, you must use logic, evidence, and reasoning to support your argument. Always, you should always use logic and evidence for you to have a supporting explanation or reason. So you are in your grade 10 and writing an argumentative essay is a chance for you to practice critical thinking and learn how to organize and express your ideas, because in here you will persuade other people by using logic and evidence instead of your emotions. So by following the structures, the key features, the language features that we have discussed, your essay will have, or your text will have a clear flow and making it easier for your readers to follow your argument and finally agree with your point of view. So again, this is just a review of what we have discussed earlier. Modal verbs and modal adverbs are used in writing argumentative essays or texts to prove and to have a strong stand in a position you believe in. So it is important to take note of the modals and tones. So we have to use the modals to soften your verbs. Example, the president must change his policy. And in here, the president should change his policy. Please take note that we should control the tone with modals because the first example expresses a modal that is too strong and it is not applicable for the argumentative text. So we should use the should for the modal verb. So in controlling the tone with modals in writing an argumentative text, we have this asserting a point and acknowledging an opposing point. For asserting a point, strong modals help writers to assert their main points. When we say assert, it means to confidently state or declare something as true. So we may use the modal verbs must, had better, ought to, and should. And in acknowledging an opposing point, it means weaker modals help writers make an opposing opinion sound weak. So we may use the modal verbs may, might, could, can, and would. We have the graph here for the reasons for using modals. First, strong modals help the writer's opinion sound stronger. And weak modals make opposing views sound weaker. So these are the reasons why we use the modals or the modals verb or adverbs in writing argumentative text or essay. And let's have an exercise again for the last time. So you have to choose the answer from the box above the text that we have. So let's read. When studying the advantages and disadvantages of learning methods, it blank to place learners in artificial situations. In order to observe how they blank to different stimuli, this blank via electronic media, example given, virtual reality. If the reaction is positive, this blank the likelihood that learners blank well in real life. The choices are may be necessary, might react, can most easily be done, must indicate, and will respond. The answers are may be necessary, might react, can most easily be done, must indicate, and will respond. Okay, let's read the whole text. When studying the advantages and disadvantages of learning methods, it may be necessary to place learners in artificial situations in order to observe how they might react to different stimuli. This can most easily be done via electronic media, example given, virtual reality. If the reaction is positive, this must indicate the likelihood that learners will respond well in real life. So that's how our exercises and our discussion of the 3 topics end. And the activities for these topics or lessons will be sent to you in our GC. So just wait for my instruction in our group chat in order for you to answer each activity correctly. And also, if you have any question, you may ask the question in our group chat regarding to this topic. So I hope you've learned about our lesson today. So God bless and good day, learners.